Hey guys, welcome back. It's another episode of me, Bhuvanesh Sharma. So, as you see, this is Weekend Research. Today is Saturday, and this is a pre recorded video because I am actually traveling outside, and because of me traveling, I don't know, I won't be able to make another video. But as you saw in the thumbnail, there are two things that I'm going to talk about today. Number one, there is a risk to investing in small case that not a lot of people have spoken about. So I got a PDF which talks about how you need to make the best of your investments using small case. Because if you don't do it wisely, you will lose money if you invest in small case, if you're doing it very blindly. Number two, now this is a very old news, but I think it still needs to be spoken about. That is NSE IFSC. What is that? You will say, kya hai kya ye cheez? And the thing is, NSE IFSC is basically the Indian government has now allowed Indian retail investors to be able to invest in US stocks, top 50 US stocks, be it Apple, Netflix, Meta, Microsoft, so that you will be able to invest in all these stocks, and there is some kind of a jhol behind it. Now, of course, I will explain it in the future, but having said that, let's begin. So, yeah, I'll just share my screen and let's start with the video on initially with small case. So there is something known as expense ratio when you are investing in small case, and then there is another cost involved, that is your subscription fees. If you have taken some kind of a paid subscription of a fund manager that they are investing in, basically. तो वहां से शुरू करते हैं, and the document that I actually procured was from Alok Jain, who is the founder or maybe the fund manager for Weekend Investing Small Case. Let's begin. Okay, yep. So there is this concept of small case fee. Okay, and the entire document is created by Weekend Investing. That is a fund that also operates with small case. That's the whole thing here. Weekend Investing, power of momentum. Now the query is, I have paid 15,000 rupees subscription as fee to small case, in which I invested a sum of 75,000. This is just an hypothetical approach. First of all, is the subscription fee in line with the amount investment? Is this the right approach? Now the answer is absolutely not. And as I mentioned, there is something we need to speak about, which is known as the expense ratio. Expense ratio is basically fee paid, the subscription fee that you paid divided by the total money that you invested in. In this case, 15,000 is the fees that you paid for the subscription, and total money invested is 75,000 in a hypothetical scenario. So the expense ratio for your total investment amount is equal to 20%. Now, what it really means is that you're effectively paying 20% of your total investment value as subscription fee, and the minimum percentage your portfolio will need to deliver returns just to meet your subscription expense is more than 20%. Not beating inflation or any other asset class. In this case, you have to beat the expense ratio after actually investing the amount has to be increased by more than 20%. So let's say the portfolio actually assuming that the portfolio generated 15% during the first year of subscription. This means the returns is 15% divided by 75,000 equals to rupees 11,250. Now, this is the return that you made on 15% that the portfolio that you actually invested in, वो उसका generate हुआ. लेकिन आपने 15,000 रुपए भी तो दिए हैं, 15,000 रुपए सब्सक्रिप्शन फीस दी ना. So eliminate the 11,250 from 15,000. The answer gets, you are in a negative balance of rupees 3,750. That's the game here. So the net returns in percentage would be returns minus fees divided by the total investment. So calculating here, 11,250 minus 15,000 divided by 75,000 is equal to negative 5% return. So आपका पोर्टफोलियो ने ना पॉजिटिव रिटर्न देने के बाद भी आपकी एक्सपेंस रेशो बन गई. एक्सपेंस रेशो को इंक्लूड करने की वजह से आपका जो नेट रिटर्न इन परसेंटेज हो गई नेगेटिव 5%, विच इज नॉट अ गुड थिंग. यानी कि आपका पैसा एसेंशियली यू कुड नॉट बीट इन्फ्लेशन एंड यू एक्चुअली लॉस्ट मनी इन दिस ट्रांजैक्शन. एंड subscription fee is the biggest component in small case investing. That's the truth about it. Taxes, brokerage charges, etc. are minimal to the compared to subscription fee and not included in calculating net returns. So I really like the fact that weekend investing is completely transparent when it comes to this thing, that they are talking about, they are being completely transparent when it comes to actually talking about the subscription fee. That is the biggest component when you are investing in a small case. So what should be the good expense ratio that you need to consider if you are going to invest in small case? Let's say you invest in a mutual fund, you are entitled to pay a subscription fees of 1 to 2% depending on investment value. तो जो expense ratio होती है ना, जब आप एक mutual fund में invest करते हो and it's like 0.5% or 1% depending upon वो कौन सा mutual fund house distributor है and depending upon आपने कौन से fund में invest करा है, जिसके अंदर is it an active fund or is it a passive fund. Keep that in mind. The percentage can be dependent on factors like whether it's a debt, equity fund, also size of the fund, which is assets under management. We won't obviously, वो मैंने आपको समझा दिया. Now the goal here is that your expense ratio should be kept below 2.5%. जितनी low आपकी expense ratio है, that is the higher return that you are going to get on your investments, more or less. So coming back to the initial example, if you paid a fee of rupees 15,000, then according to this rule, the value in that small case should not be less than rupees 6 lakhs. यहाँ पे इन्होंने formula भी दे रखा है. Minimum investments equals to subscription fee divided by 2.5%. So basically, minimum investments is equal to 15,000 divided by 0.025, which is 6 lakhs. That's how the amount got calculated to be. Now, there is a note also mentioned here. If you want to keep your fee as low as possible, you may consider a different fee percentage and play around with the denominator accordingly to arrive at the optimum capital as per your requirement. इसका यही scene है. Yeah. A 1% expense ratio means that your investment value should be rupees 15 lakh. Good thing. Now, यहाँ पे they have actually mentioned minimum and maximum investment rates for weekend investing small case, which I really appreciate the way that they are being transparent. So thank you, Alok Jan, that you actually created this whole document for people to actually get aware about these things. So if you are investing in momentum investing 20, their minimum portfolio size has to be 1 lakh. If you are investing in MI25, which is again momentum investing, risk is high. 5 lakhs should be the minimum of your portfolio size. MI30, 10 lakhs. MI35, 3.5 lakhs should be your minimum portfolio size. Maximum can always vary, so you need to consider minimum portfolio size. So if you want to invest in MI20, for example, which is momentum investing 20, minimum recommended capital is 1 lakh rupees. When you invest 1 lakh, your annual expenses, which is the subscription fee as well as some of the taxes and other data, would be 4,999, which is 5,000 रुपए हो गया basically, resulting in an expense ratio of 5%. When you add more capital, either in SIP, which is systematic investment program, systematic scheme होती है, or a lump sum amount, the expense ratio will continue to reduce. So first year you added 1 lakh rupees, total investment fee you paid 5,000 rupees, expense ratio 5%. Second year you added again 1 lakh rupees, total investment हो गई 2 lakh रुपए, same fees 2.5% हो गई. By the time you reach the 5th year, compounding हो रही है, 1 लाख रुपए की आप फंड ऐड कर रहे हो हर साल. Total investment comes out to be 5 lakh rupees and the fees remains the same. So expense ratio eventually came down from 5% to 1% in this regard. And that is a good thing. Now, in that above table, which I actually just showed you, you can observe the expense ratio reduces over time as your investment increases. Yeah. Now, expense ratio is calculated on the current value of the investment, which includes the returns on the component as well. Now, think about it. Let's assume the portfolio that you have invested in clocks a 15% return in each of the 5 years. 15% का return आया जो आपने पैसे डालते गए थे, 1 लाख, 2 लाख, मतलब second year 2 lakh, third year 3 lakh, and by the time you reach the 5th year, it's 5 lakh rupees. 15% return पे your current value of investment after 5 years, that amounts to 6,74,000 and your return would be 1,01,136. Fee remains the same, your expense ratio is 0.7. Net returns came around to be 14.3%. 14.3% is a good return. So Nifty ka वैसे भी like in the last 30 years it has given 15% return, and you got 14.3% return. Obviously, if it would have beaten Nifty, very happy. But 14%, not bad at all. Now, with a standard return of 15% per annum, the expense ratio reduces as net returns increases when you continue to increase the size of your portfolio through SIP or lump sum investing. Now, this is the note that actually got shared by Weekend Investing team, that stay invested for a long tenure. Always think long term. Keep adding capital gradually over a period of time. Execute the rebalancing that Smallcase informs you to rebalance your portfolio, and try to avoid any manual intervention unless confident. तो अगर आपको लगता है कि आप confident हो in your own ability to actually build your own portfolio, then आप अपनी rebalancing खुद से करो. But let the fund manager do his job, and you pay the 5,000 rupees as a yearly fees and enjoy the returns that you're going to get. That was it for small case investing. What you need to know about the transparent fact about their subscription fee as well as expense ratio. Coming to this thing now on 4th, IFSC investing in US stocks through NSE IFSC. Now, Zerodha Varsity actually came out with this article, and I need to explain कि ना इसमें कुछ गड़बड़ है. You should know क्या गड़बड़ है, ताकि अगर आप इन्वेस्ट करना चाह रहे हो through be it another RT, be it through Zerodha as well, because Zerodha has also applied for this NSE IFSC platform to be able to sell US stocks, as well as Motilal Oswal. They have all applied for this thing. This article came, and this news was announced on 3rd March 2022. This article came out on 4th March 2022 explaining everything about कि क्या गेम है बॉस जरूरी है ये चीज समझनी इसलिए. Now, NSE IFSC recently announced trading in 50 popular US stocks like Apple, Amazon, and Tesla in the form of unsponsored depository receipts for Indian investors. तो चलो बताता हूं. While the stock exchanges in GIFT City were primarily set up for easy access to Indian stocks and derivatives for NRIs and foreigners, this is the first product for onshore Indian investors. GIFT City IFSC. So, what is GIFT City? GIFT City is basically a special economic zone or a financial hub with tax incentives created by the government of India with a more relaxed regulatory regime to attract foreign capital to India and export financial services. So think of it like Singapore or Dubai. Dubai or Singapore mein ease of business is very easy. There is almost negligible tax. So essentially Ahmedabad, Gujarat mein they have created a special economic zone जहाँ पे जो है ना capital inflow आसानी से आए, international investments as well as Indian जो पैसा आ रहा है वो उस चीज को जो है ना रेगुलेट कर पाए easily. What they have done. The regulator for GIFT City is International Financial Services Center Authority, IFSCA. What is NSE IFSC? Subsidiaries of BSE and NSE, India INX and NSE IFSC respectively were allowed to set up stock exchanges at GIFT City. These exchanges were essentially set up to allow easier access for international investors looking to trade in Indian securities. Now, the first products जो इन पे introduce हुए थे NSE IFSC पे were index and stock derivatives contracts. The international अभी recently they have been announced. इससे पहले नहीं. These were index and stock derivatives. Other than easier onboarding and lesser regulatory requirements for NRIs and foreign nationals compared to trading on onshore Indian exchanges, there is tax incentives. No income tax on derivative gains, no short-term trading or stamp duty. This is to attract international traders at GIFT over platforms in Dubai or Singapore and other countries. Can an Indian individual retail investors trade derivatives in GIFT City? No. Yeah, नहीं कर सकते. GIFT City is for NRIs and foreigners. तो international capital जो है बाहर से capital inflow हो इंडिया में, that is why they have created this special economic zone in GIFT City. And again, this is the LRS liberalized remittance scheme. So maximum of $250,000 per year. So almost 3-4 करोड़ रुपए, उससे ज़्यादा अगर आप ट्रांसफर आउट ऑफ मनी करते हैं इंडिया, दैट इज द मैक्सिमम लिमिट दैट यू हैव. While both exchanges were set up for foreigners and NRIs, they realized that there is an opportunity to build product for Indian retail investors. तो ये गेम अब शुरू होती है, how you can invest in US stocks using NSE IFSC receipts. Over the last year, 4 years, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google, Netflix have given phenomenal returns. सब जानते हैं, they have given very very high returns, और तभी FANG का एक नाम है. Facebook now is Meta. Added to the performance, these are also brands that a lot of Indians use on a daily basis. The interest in owning of these stocks under LRS schemes has only gone up. Now, there are some reasons. Cost of international remittance. Money to be transferred to the international broker. And this can cost between 300 to 1000 rupees in terms of fixed cost, apart from losing on the currency spread. So, अगर आप Indian से dollar में transaction कर रहे हैं, obviously there is some loss that actually happens. So, it is somewhere around 0.5% to 2%. The cost of receiving money back could be even more. While the cost might not seem much for large investors who can potentially also bargain with the spread on banks, it is prohibitive for most retail investors wishing to send, say, 10,000 rupees to 2 lakh. There is also a factor of trust. Indian platforms today partner with US brokerages. If you are using IND Money or any other international stock exchange partners, they actually have a partnership with a US brokerage जिसके साथ आप ट्रेड कर पाते हो उस स्टॉक को, वो आपके डीमैट अकाउंट पे नहीं जाते हैं वो पैसे, मोर और लेस. सो देयर इज अ ट्रस्ट डेफिसिट बिकॉज बोथ द प्लेटफॉर्म्स एंड ओवरसीज ब्रोकर्स आर अंडर द jurisdiction of Indian regulators. Some startups have found way to remit money at lower cost by partnering with an international bank and maybe bearing some portion of remittance costs as cost of acquisition. Also, while fixed costs are lower, that could potentially be made of higher currency spreads and this. Now, coming to the game. अगर आप NSE IFSC के थ्रू ट्रेड करते हो, you are not going to get actual stocks in your pocket. Let me explain what that is. The announcement from NSE says that they are launching trading in 50 US stocks through unsponsored depository receipts. तो वो आपको एक रिसीट दे देंगे that let's say आपने इन्वेस्ट किए 50,000 rupees in Apple stock. You are not going to get the stock of Apple. You will get a depository receipt जो बताएगी कि क्या हुआ है, एंड यू गेट दैट रिसीट कि आपने एप्पल का स्टॉक ले लिया. दैट इज द गेम हियर. करेंटली दिस प्रोडक्ट इज इन रेगुलेटरी सैंडबॉक्स टेस्ट, सो इस पे अभी टेस्टिंग हो रही है, which means that NSE IFSC will only be able to onboard a fixed number of customers. More customers will be allowed once IFSC, the authority जो है basically, gives final approval on the product. Trading is open from 8 PM to 2:30 PM IST. So that is the international US stock time जहां पे जो है ना उनकी ट्रेडिंग ओपन होती है. What are unsponsored depository receipts? Explain करते हैं. When a company is listed on exchanges in one country wants to attract investors and trading in another country, it is done through depository receipts, and the company offers DR. It is called sponsored DR. If the company isn't involved, it's called unsponsored depository receipt. Indian companies like ICICI Bank, Wipro, Infosys trade on US stock exchanges through sponsored DR, depository receipts. The DR जो NSE IFSC पे है ये unsponsored होगी, so यानी कि कंपनी का इससे कोई एफिलिएशन नहीं है that you purchase a stock, but that is unsponsored, so कंपनी का कोई एफिलिएशन नहीं होगा. So NSE IFSC would have partnered with an international custodian who will hold shares in the US on the behalf of NSE IFSC, and these depository receipts will start trading on NSE IFSC. Since the exchange is new, NSE IFSC has also partnered with large market makers to ensure that they are providing two-way quotes on the exchange for trading with low impact cost. Market makers will, before being able to provide sell quotes, would have to park the shares with international custodians. So जो market maker है उन्हें पहले अपने जो है ना शेयर्स को इंटरनेशनल कस्टोडियन को देना पड़ेगा, जो भी अथॉरिटी होगी, एंड देन वो जो है ना आपको वो प्राइस लिस्टेड देगा जो आपको मिलेगा. मार्केट मेकर्स इज बेसिकली जो मिडल मैन होता है एक्सचेंजेस पे, दैट इज वर्किंग, इसका काम यही होता है. The above issue solves for a large risk that comes with Indian startups partnering with international brokerage firms. Almost in all cases, brokerage in US hold securities called margin account or in the street name of broker. तो यही है. ट्रेडिंग एंड सेटलमेंट की बात कर लेते हैं. इट्स अ T+3 day settlement, which means stocks और DRs once bought will be credited after 3 days. Normally it is 2 days in India अगर आप Zerodha के थ्रू ब्रोकिंग कर रहे हैं to the demat account. Similarly, funds from stocks sold will be credited after 3 days. So funds जो आपने पैसे डाले वो भी 3 दिन बाद होंगे. No intraday leverage trading is allowed. Trades will be allowed to the extent of fund or stocks held in the account. Zerodha and NSE IFSC. So Zerodha is also trying to get in touch with the NSE IFSC platform to getting their membership, and it should be live in a few months. Once they receive regulatory sandbox restrictions apply today in terms of maximum users. So this was the game on NSE IFSC. Okay. Coming back to this thing. Now, अगर आपने 2008 का फाइनेंशियल क्रैश के बारे में पढ़ा, what had happened was, और ये मैंने 3-4 बार एक्सप्लेन करा है, so I'll explain it again. The brokers and the investment bankers started trading bonds which were not legitimate. The credit rating companies were fraud. They were providing, AAA rating or AA rating, but the truth was that the credit rating was completely false. और उन्होंने उन बॉन्ड्स को जो है ना they started to trade on the derivatives on those bonds. तो जब mortgage housing finance failed, सारी की सारी वो bonds turned to crap. That's why जब Michael Burry actually leveraged his own money to create different bonds essentially, because he saw that a housing bubble is forming. He traded against those bonds and he shorted those positions on those bonds. That was the game. तो यहाँ पे एक similar scenario can be played out क्योंकि आपको actual shares नहीं मिल रहे हैं. You are getting receipt कि आपके पास Apple का share आ गया है, आपके पास Microsoft का share आ गया है. And the risk here because of this is कि people can come in and say, maybe this is not the मैंने तो receipt दे दी, and you can start putting it on hold. आप उसको अपनी asset दिखा सकते हो for tax saving. You can do all sort of different things. You can loan आप ले सकते हो उसके basis पे, and then जो है ना उसकी quality eventually it's a slippery slope. It can degrade. That's the point that I'm trying to make here. इस वजह से I don't think that this is the right thing to do. It's much better that you are able to get a US brokerage account, do a full-fledged partnership with the likes of Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan, and make sure that the Indian retail investors are going to get these stocks, not the receipts, the unsponsored depository receipts in their demat accounts. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to invest in this platform even if Zerodha onboards this thing altogether. So that was this video. I hope you enjoyed Sunday. I hope you enjoyed the Saturday session. Yesterday was Holi, so I hope आपने जो enjoy करा हो. And happy belated Holi to you all. I'll see you for the next time. Ta-da!